decision. Listen up, y'all.
I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this week, and then I'm going to get back to working out and figure things out in a couple weeks.
All right, Stephen A., fairly definitive. And obviously, this is from a distance. You're closer to the situation. But while we were off over the past week, he also spoke about how he's really grateful for this time. He's worked on his mental health, his spirituality. He seems to be in a really good place. Where do you think he's leaning now?
Well, he probably is leaning towards staying in Green Bay because Green Bay has made no effort whatsoever to move on from him. Their mentality is that it's not a feasible decision for them financially, not to mention the fact that they recognize that he's one of the greatest quarterbacks who have ever played this game. He's a bad man. And as a result of that, they don't want to lose him. My whole point is that I pray to God I'm wrong. I hope that he is steadfast in his decision. I hope that he's committed to staying away from the This is not about football. I cannot tell you how much it rakes my damn nerves to listen to one football analyst after another talk about football when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. If you're talking about football, there's nothing to talk about. They were 13-3 the last 2 years with an NFC championship game berth. That is a championship contender. We're not talking about football. Aaron Rodgers is smart enough not to be talking about football. This is not what it's about with him and the Green Bay Packers. It is about how this man has been treated by this organization. They have done something to this man that makes this man not want to be there. But the question is, are you going to give up your career before you're willing to go back and play the game that you love just because you can't stand who you're working for one more season? I think that based on what I heard from there, that little soundbite right there, it kind of gives me the indication that he's leaning towards doing something he really doesn't want to do, and that's playing his final year in Green Bay.
That would be a big mistake for Aaron Rodgers, because then what was this all about? Aaron Rodgers needs to show that he's not bluffing, because, Stephen A., if he shows he's not bluffing, the Packers have no move. They're going to have to do what he says. But if they feel like he's softening in his stance, if he's not willing, and in order to bluff, you actually have to be willing to follow through if it comes to that, right? Whether or not that's what you most want to do. If he's actually willing to sit out the year, what are the Packers going to do? Think about the Stafford-Goff trade, okay? Goff was drafted number 1 overall, made 2 Pro Bowls, won an NFC championship game, went to a Super Bowl, and he was traded along with 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick for Matt Stafford. Now, Stafford has a team-friendly contract, but Stafford is considered a better quarterback than Goff also. The point is, if you can get all that for Stafford, Goff, 2 firsts and a third, what are you going to get for Aaron Rodgers? So in the end, if Rodgers showed the Packers, I'm really not going to play for you, if that's the price for Stafford, the bidding starts at 3 first-rounders for Rodgers, but it doesn't end there. Are they going to give that up? Of course not. They'll move him, but he has to show that he's serious by not playing for the Packers.
Well, let me say this to you, Max, and let me throw this back at you. Couple of things. Number one, you started off your soliloquy by asking the question, what was this all for? Well, what it was all for is that if it's an organization that wants to treat him like trash and wants to be dismissive of him or act like he's just another guy as opposed to him being that bad man that he is, okay, he was saying, okay, then get me up out of here. It shouldn't be an issue since you don't want me and I don't really want to be here. But come to find out, they do want him, and they just want to dismiss him like he's nothing, but they want him. But they know that he's not anything. They know that he's more than just nothing. They know that he's one of the great ones who have ever played, but they just want to treat him like he's just some ordinary Joe. The other side to all of this is this, Max. When we talk about him in this regard in terms of Matthew Stafford, let's understand with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. The Los Angeles Rams did not want Matthew Stafford, okay? Sean McVay did not want him anymore. Les Snead didn't want him anymore. They didn't want him in Los Angeles. Goff. I'm sorry. Goff. Yeah. I'm saying I said Stafford and Goff. They didn't want Goff any longer. And so it was easier for them to be willing to sacrifice and to give up what they gave up because they want a quarterback that they want. They didn't want him. They didn't believe in him anymore, and his relationship with the coach had appeared to sour. In the case of Aaron Rodgers, he might feel like Matt LaFleur is somebody that passes the buck, that doesn't accept enough accountability, but his disdain is not for Coach Matt LaFleur from what I've been told.
But Stephen A.
His disdain is for the organization, meaning the Mark Murphys of the world. And we saw that soundbite from Mark Murphy and what he said weeks ago, which I felt was incredibly incriminating towards him and really highlighted and illuminated why Aaron Rodgers would have a problem with this organization.
I'm not debating those points. The reason I brought up Goff and Stafford was to price Aaron Rodgers. If Stafford lands you 2 firsts, a third, and a former number 1 overall who's been to 2 Pro Bowls, is in his prime, and has been in a Super Bowl already,
right?
If that's Stafford's price, what's Rodgers' price? Now,
but didn't you hear what I said?
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm saying is they didn't like him. So in other words, they were willing to give up stuff because they wanted to get rid of him. So they were willing to give up more to get rid of him just as much as they wanted Stafford. It wasn't just about Stafford. It was about getting rid of him.
Let me put it another way. What does the bidding start at Rodgers for? It's at least 3 firsts. It's at least 3 firsts, even if they know he's a distressed asset and he wants out. You ain't getting Rodgers
a superstar player or two with
3 first
unless you
round
throw
picks.
the superstar players though.
So let me. How it's never happened before. A quarterback who's physically, whatever his age is, still looks in his prime. Just won MVP, had one of the greatest seasons ever. Was in the NFC Championship game. He's on the trading block. At least 3 firsts. So my point is this: if Rodgers shows, I am not going to play for you, then at the least, Stephen A., we're going to find out what they actually think of Jordan Love. The only way they don't move him at that point is if they're like, we love Jordan Love. And by the way, the more I think about it, they still move him because if they love Jordan Love, why wouldn't they want to bring in at least 3 more first-round picks around him?
Hypothetical, because I'm not arguing your point. I just think you're missing something. I'm not questioning the legitimacy of the 3 first-round picks that you're saying. Only thing that I'm trying to throw in there, Max, is 3 first-round picks might not be necessary if you throw in a superstar talent with, say, 1 or 2 first-round picks. Like, let's say, for example, not that this would happen. Let's say not that this would happen, but let's say, for example, Aaron Rodgers decided he wanted to go to Baltimore. And Baltimore said, okay, we'll give you Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Well, guess what? They don't have to give up 3 first-round picks now.
Correct.
See what I'm saying?
Correct.
If you got a superstar to throw in there, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be married to the 3-round picks.
No.
And Max, one other thing, it has to be a team that's ready to win right now because they're going to hold his age against him.
Oh, for sure. But actually, any team that Aaron Rodgers goes to, he ain't going to be
better.
less than 500. And if you put him on a decent team, they're contenders. And if you put him on a good team, they're going to be among the favorites to win a Super Bowl. Look at the Packers.
They need to be ready to go now. I mean, he is 37.
I think Aaron Rodgers turns any good. I think Aaron Rodgers turns any good team into a contender. He's a bad man, y'all.
What is he?
He is a superstar.
Yes.
What is he? I like the way you said that. That could even become like a catchphrase. What is he?
Oh, my gosh. You're unbelievable.
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
Bad man.
What does it all come down to?
He's
Respect.
special.
What did the lock say? Money, power, respect. Key to life. That's what Aaron Rodgers needs. That's a throwback. All right, we'll keep it rolling. Conor McGregor predicted Dustin Poirier would leave UFC 264 on a stretcher. He got half of that prediction right. Is Conor McGregor washed? Is he done? The fellas answer that. Plus, a couple weeks ago on this very show, Max Kellerman predicted Team USA was bringing a questionable roster to